Thomas, good to see you. I have an important question. Is the bear market over? The S&P recently climbed more than 20% from a 2022 low. Here's a look at what that looks like. The markets have certainly been on an upswing, so I'd like to know, how do you define a bull market? I'm seeing some experts who follow that 20% rule, but others consider it to be a false signal. Which metrics are you looking for?
Absolutely. So technically, a bear market is considered a 20% growth in the market from the lows. October, I believe, was last year. We were at the lowest point in the S&P, and now we're in the 4,400 range. So technically, we would be in a bull market, but I think that you can't be drunken by the recent gains, because there are a few positions in the tech sector that are really pulling the market, and due to AI intelligence. So those are really impacting what we're seeing in the market. There is some things that we should consider too. Obviously the consumer sentiments and how we're spending, and then obviously you want to look at the state of the economy too. But right now, there's a few players that are really boosting the market because of what's going on in the tech sector.
I'm glad you brought that up. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Here's a look at the S&P from FinViz year to date. So as you can see, the recent rally in the S&P has been led by a small group of tech stocks propelled by artificial intelligence, whereas the average individual stock in the S&P has risen less than 3% this year. So for those who believe the bear market is over, are they missing the bigger picture?
I think so, to some capacity. Obviously there are some other factors that are impacting, the markets. Even today, they just did a stress test on the banks here recently, and that's pulling the market as well. And then, obviously we figured out the debt ceiling, that impacted the market as well. But recently, with these tech stocks that are making major gains, that are pulling the markets, you can't be too leery and say that, okay, what is the rest of the actual the S&P doing, the other sectors, the healthcare sector, looking at consumer discretionary. What are we doing in those sectors? So I think you have to take a holistic approach when you're thinking about an overall bear market.
Hedge funds and many other investors made big bets on the S&P falling. There's still a lot of cash sitting on the sidelines right now. Does a defensive position still make sense?
So I think it all depends. I'm a risk-based advisor, meaning I'm looking at your overall risk tolerance and or do you have a diversified portfolio? And it also means where are you at in life? Are you in a position where you can't afford the volatility? You may want to stick with those defensive positions, but I would have you revert back to what is your overall tolerance, and can you afford to potentially lose? Second half of this year may not be as rewarding as the first half of this year. So depending on where you're at, I would say defensive may make sense or not.
Okay. And I know it's difficult to predict, but it's still worth asking. Do you think we will see a recession this year?
They've been projecting that for the last, couple of years, obviously.
Yeah.
And then when you think about, what's happening with the interest rates, they obviously put a pause the last time they met. That's been impacting how everything is happening in our economy. So if they do begin to increase those interest rates, that might be a big conversation again. Are we looking at a recession in the second half of the year? Nobody truly knows. Right now, the sentiment is pretty high. We're out there spending that money still, and that's feeding into the economy. So we'll have to look. We'll have this conversation, I guess, fourth quarter.
I will revisit it. I promise, Thomas. If somebody has questions, though, about anything they're seeing in the headlines and wants to talk through any anxiety they're feeling, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, please, first of all, reach out to me. You can go to my website at martinheritagegroup.llc.com. You can shoot me an email at info@martinheritagegroup.llc.com. You can also give me a phone call, 651-503-6064. And again, I'm on all social media platforms at Martin Heritage Group.
All right, Thomas, thank you.
Thank you.